All right. Good morning. This is Jarvis Elamine sitting in for Angela Birdsong with Tampa Bay Politics. The call-in number here is 813-444-9588. 813-444-9588. We have in the studio with us, we have a political analyst and entrepreneur in our community, Mr. Jeffrey Rose. Going to be talking about election results. We want to make sure that you get involved. A lot went on last night, Jeffrey, and we're going to get into it real deep. Before we do that, our first segment is always to talk about you, where you're from, where you went to school there, where you was born. Just tell us about, for the listeners that may not know you. We know you're well known, Jeffrey, but there may be those that don't know you. Tell us, where was you born?
Yeah, I'm a Tampa native. I've been here in Tampa all my life. Born at Clarify Hospital.
Wow.
One of the last group of babies was probably born there back in '62. I'm a co-owner of Ray Williams Funeral Home. And the funeral home that I co-own, I started working at that funeral home when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
17 years old. So I knew what I wanted to do at an early age. Went off to mortuary school, came back, continued working at that same funeral home. And then opportunity came available back in the late 1990s to buy into the business. So I bought into the business, became a partner, and this is where I am right now. I'm 62. I'm 60 years old. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just a little younger than me. I'm 63.
Right.
So you went to high school, one of the traditional high schools,
Yes,
Millerton Blake?
Yeah, Laytor High School.
Laytor. Okay, went to
I
Laytor.
wasn't from that far back, but yeah.
I didn't take you too far back, right?
Laytor High School. Then I went off to mortuary school in Miami.
Okay.
And then I continued with my degree in political science at St. Leo University.
And that I didn't know about you. So you are well qualified to talk as a political analyst. I didn't know you went to St. Louis in political science.
Yes.
And what year that was?
That was back in, when I finished, it was probably back in early 2000.
Mm-hmm. So did you get a 4-year degree in that?
Yeah, it was completing it now. Yeah.
You're completing it now?
I stopped it, yeah.
Okay, so
back, yes.
Oh, great then. Oh, that sounds good. All right. And we know, of course, you got married not long ago. That was a big power couple around the city. And how long that been now that you and Veronica been married?
2 years and a half.
Yeah, that was exciting on the beach and with the white on. It was so wonderful, And we met, started becoming, I knew of you, but we become close when we was working together on the NAACP Political Action Committee at the time.
Yeah, in political forums.
In political forums, yeah.
Partnership with. At that time, it was TOBA in the NAACP.
Right, it was TOBA, NAACP, National Coalition of 100 Women with the Belithia, Barry. We just had a lot of fun during that time. And,
yes, we did.
Doing civic engagement and getting people to understand their voters is their voice and empowering people to understand in the political process. It was a wonderful thing. And that partnership still goes on. Unfortunately, TOBA not work with us now, but we still have you, Jeffrey.
Yes,
and we still have the National Coalition of 100 Black Women and the NAACP, and we brought on the Divine Nine, and so that was really, really wonderful time. So before we go any further, let's talk about this past weekend before we get to the election results. There was Souls to the Poll, which used to be a mainstay that we used to work together on. We worked with Faith in Florida one year.
Right.
Souls to the Poll was just a lot of fun. And you was given the task of West Tampa.
The West Tampa Library, yeah.
And tell us what happened, how that was.
Yeah, West Tampa Library, it was a steady flow. We didn't have probably the amount of voters that Seablythe had, but we had a very steady flow. And over at a location, we had a couple sororities, fraternities, and we was doing fish, and everybody was pitching in and playing gospel music and old school music. So
they have a DJ like you normally do?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yes,
The DJ always was a hit for us.
Yeah, and and it marks what it says. It was Souls to the Poll.
Right.
And it picked up doing, I would say, between 1 and 3.
Okay.
That's when it was real heavy.
Well, people coming out of church.
Right, absolutely.
Well, let me say this to you now. I was out there doing Souls to the Poll. Of course, I was at Seablythe Andrews. And then, I had been monitoring the polls during early voting, the whole 2 weeks of early voting. And I want to talk to you about something that I saw really affecting the elections, and it's going to affect the elections to come. The 150 feet from the voting precinct. That 150 feet so far back now, it's almost like you wasting money to hire somebody to work the polls for you because they can't talk to the people.
They can't make contact.
They can't make contact with the people. Don't hand-to-hand come back like it used to be. When I started, Jeffrey, it was 50 feet away.
50 feet.
Then they moved it back to 100. Now it's 150. I look at that as voter suppression. What's your take on that?
Well, it's twofold on that. evidently it was a couple, several voters filed. They didn't actually file a complaint, but complained that they were somewhat being, harassed as they was going up to vote, and I think that's where that came about. Eventually, I think where the setback zone is, where we were at the West Tampa Library, it really was not that bad where we were last time. We were on the pavement. We were in the grassy part toward the alley. So we were able to still make contact. We was able to make contact, and some of the supporters supporting certain candidates was able to pass out a couple, brochures.
Well, Jeff, I differ with you on that. I think it's a part of the Republican legislator. That's a part of the voter suppression campaign. Also, that's you can't give nobody water, and they had people out there.
I definitely disagree with that.
Yeah, and they had people out there. Yeah, and they had people out there enforcing it.
Yeah.
I was at Jimmy B. Kill. If you pass the solicitation zone and just speak to somebody.
Right.
Somebody's on top of you saying, hey, you can't talk to them while they're going to go vote. So all of this is tactics, part of the voter suppression campaign. So, this big red wave was not done all honestly because there was a lot of voter suppression going on. So let's talk about now felons. And Hillsborough County in the state of Florida led the amount of felons that got arrested for trying to go vote. Mm-hmm. So, with Amendment 4, with all that work, spend all that money, felons get the rights back. Now felons so scared to even go anywhere near the polls. What's your take on that? I mean, you have 12 people that have been arrested. So, voter suppression or not?
Yes, voter suppression. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But any time somebody that's a registered voter cannot vote, even something small as carrying water up to a voter standing in line or providing a chair. That's voter suppression. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, what community it affects? Us. Black and brown. Absolutely.
And particularly black.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a real challenge. We're going to definitely get into the election and what happened there. But what do you see in terms of the 4 years ago? We had an exciting candidate that ran, Andrew Gillum, that ran for governor.
Right.
He was a rock star status.
Right.
It was so much rhythm and so much excitement all over the state. He came, matter of fact, in the I-4 corridor, you can't win a statewide race unless you win the I-4 corridor. You can't win the I-4 corridor unless you win Hillsborough County. So he was in and out of Hillsborough County a lot. What's your take on us as Democrats putting up better candidates, man? I mean, that's one lesson we should learn for this. What's your take on it? Because I really admire your take on things. We talk all the time.
Oh, yes, absolutely. What happened last night, the Democratic base was not stimulated. A lot of young blacks did not go out because they felt there was no candidate they wanted. Unlike when Andrew Gillum was running, we didn't know who. That race was so close with Gillum and DeSantis. We did not know the winner until, 2 days later?
That's right.
Right, 2 days later. So that shows you the vote's out there.
Mm-hmm.
The vote's out there. And it's just galvanizing your base and getting people out to vote. And it starts with the candidate. And I think that was the issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let me tell you part of my take on that. We're talking about it a little deeper as we get into the particular races. I think the Democrats, let's talk about the base, because everybody got different ideas on what's the base of the Democratic Party. I want to get from your standpoint as a commentator, who is the base of the Democratic Party?
I would say the base of the Democratic Party, it would be your active Democrats, people that vote all the time, and then you have those that vote when it hit on the issue or as an exciting candidate, then they'll turn out. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've been hearing with people that I know that did not vote. Mm-hmm. They just feel there was nobody there they wanted to vote for. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that the base of the Democratic Party is, from my take, is black people, mm-hmm. African Americans, and labor, the labor people.
Yes.
That's the base.
Yeah. And
the Democratic Party got to find a way to cite those two people in the Democratic Party. What are they going to do? Because, people vote, then they want their vote to be transactional. People want what's in it for me. So we have to tie voting to how do the people benefit from coming out to vote. Exciting candidate help, but that's going to take me back to what I think the real challenge for us as Democrats is our messaging. The opposition party, culture wars, they stood by it. Critical race theory, they stood by it. They stood by everything they believed in. not teaching certain things in history. Don't say gay. They ain't back not one iota. They were against abortion. They didn't back off for it. They stood strong on their messaging. And the people still voted for them. We are fearful to get a message and stand on it. I think this particular cycle, we overplayed Roe versus Wade. If Charlie Crist said that one time and said it 3,000 times in the debate, that didn't help us at all. What do you take?
Yeah, I thought the abortion would be a big issue as well. And I heard a little bit about it. Pro-choice. They didn't touch on that too much. I didn't see it.
Yeah, but they didn't have no real messaging. What we have to get a message. We have to own the message and stick with our message, and that message got to be a narrative that includes the base, African Americans, labor, women, and also include young people. What do you take on that? I mean, our messaging did not hit those demographics that I just talked about.
No, it did not hit that, because I mentioned that early on in the broadcast, that the young people I've been talking with, is young African Americans. They did not vote because they didn't feel they had a candidate. The candidate was not speaking to their issues, and that's just why.
All right.
And then maybe they did turn out in 20.
All right.
They had a purpose to turn out.
That's true.
And that purpose was to get rid of Trump.
All right. Well, hold your point there. We have in the studio to us Jeffrey Rose, a political analyst, entrepreneur in our community. This is.
I don't know about a political analyst. I go with entrepreneur.
He is a political analyst today. And we'll be right back. Jarvis Elamine, Tampa Bay Politics. We're going to get some exciting. It's going to get hot up in here. The call-in number is 813-444-9588. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Rob Perry with Solar Energy Loan Fund, and we can help you finance your energy needs. If you need a new air conditioner, roof, solar panels, windows, doors, weatherization, having plumbing issues, the Solar Energy Loan Fund can help you with that. Even if your credit isn't the best, we will be able to help you replace that old air conditioner or get that roof replaced. Again, my name is Rob Perry. I'm with Solar Energy Loan Fund. I can be reached at 727-315-3223. Again, that's 727-315-3223. Looking to hear from you.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
This is Jarvis Elamine, Tampa Bay Politics, setting in for Angela Birdsong, day after the election. What is this going to be, a red wave that demoralizes us, or is it going to be a red wave that inspires us to regroup and get it done? You know what I mean? Are we going to learn the lessons from this experience and receive the blessings? Where do we go from here in that regard, Jeffrey?
Yes, according to the election results on yesterday, Kathy Castor, she won, pretty decent margin. And I think I mentioned this back at Tea and Conversation. For a Democrat to run in Florida, Florida has been always said Florida is like a flip. We're talking about it's a flip state. Have a lot of independent voters, and we have quite a few independent voters in Hillsborough County as well. with that, a Democrat as well as a Republican, you're going to have to tap into that independent vote. You're going to have to tap into that. And I think that's going to be the wave for a Democrat running in a countywide, statewide seat. You're going to have to tap into the independent and see what their concerns are.
And, Jeffrey, you make a good point, because in the race against I was consulting with Angela Birdsong was a third Democrats, a third Republican, a third independent. But I want to challenge you something on that independent. See, you have independents that's really leaning Republicans, who really is just an undercover Republican.
Right.
You have some Democrats that lean, some independents that lean Democrat. How do we message to Democrats with knowing some of the Democrats, independents, is just leaning Republican? So that's the challenge in going after the independents. What do you suggest how we message to them?
Well, I even talked with some of the independents. They almost share the same views and concerns that we have. It's very close. There's some narrative, when it comes to police. Mm-hmm. There's some narratives there where they believe that what happened with George Floyd, everybody believed that was wrong. Even some independents, this locally that I talked to. And I would just say tapping into it, talking with them and see what their concerns are.
Yeah, that's great.
Right.
And I think you're right on that.
We can't sit here and say what they are.
Right.
We are what they are, but you have to actually. I wouldn't mind being in a room with nothing but independent voters and see what.
Jeffrey, that's why I brought you here. You made a good point, because us as political consultants, we said the independents lean this way, but we need to talk to them, like what you just said, and I think that's good. Let's go ahead and start now. Now, we're going to start with the U.S. Senate, Val Demings and Marco Rubio. Well, you know what the big news is on that race. Miami-Dade flipped totally red. We got to talk about that first. We can't talk about Val Demings and Marco Rubio.
And I didn't see how did Broward County come out? I didn't get those stats.
Mm-hmm. I don't get the stats.
Broward typically goes blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the challenge with that, Jeffrey, is that Miami-Dade went all the way red. Right. And I'm going to tell you what I think about that, but what's your thoughts on why we had, 4 years ago, 18, Andrew Gillum won Miami-Dade. Hillary Clinton, 2016, won Miami-Dade. What's going on why we lost Miami-Dade?
That one, to me, it shocked me. And Val Demings was, we talking about an exciting candidate. She wasn't. She had everything there that I thought.
She did.
And I thought her messaging was correct.
It was.
And I don't know if the messaging that they did on her affected her about defunding the police.
They did.
That may have had an effect on her, where people, although she didn't, if she did, she changed her stance on it, but they kept pushing it. Everybody know when you keep pushing something, it's like, the big lie theory about the 2020 election. It started to resonate in people's head.
Right. But here's the thing that I think about Hispanics that we lost in Miami-Dade. We as Democrats didn't message them. They may want to hear about immigration, but they want to hear about the economy. The number one issue for most voters was the economy, and we didn't own the message on the economy. Our opposition didn't have no message on the economy, but they kept blaming the economy being bad on the policies of President Biden. So we kept on with Roe versus Wade, woman right to choose. Even Val Demings' message was that too. They had a pact that's what Democrats were going to talk about. Because everybody thought there was so much traction with the black girl magic and woman vote and women voting. Why didn't we talk about the economy to Hispanics? They got light bill, water bill, they buy gas. That just behooved me that no message came from the Democrats to South Florida voters, Miami-Dade, about the economy. What's your take on that?
Yeah, but it really took the trend, midterm election, whoever the person's in power at that time. So it took the same trend that it would normally be. Because when the midterm, when Obama was in, we lost both seats at that time.
We did.
Yeah, so it's
called a shadakin.
Unfortunate that things happen that way. It shouldn't. But that's what happened here with this particular race as well.
Mm-hmm.
Biden, is not that popular, but even with that, in some of this other Senate races doing pretty good.
Okay.
And I don't know if I want to talk about that now or later about these other Senate races.
Well, we do the national in the last segment. We'll talk about a little national. Because what we're going to do in the last segment, we want to talk about who's going to control both houses of Congress. And that's going to be up to those races that you want to talk about.
Right.
So let's go on down now to the governor's race. That was a shenanigans. like
Yes.
President Obama called it. And he did his victory party, DeSantis, in Tampa.
Yep.
Charlie Crist lost by 20 points. Come on, Jeffrey, give me something on this. I'm going to tell you what I got, why it was this bad. But tell me what you think happened there. First of all, DeSantis had $105 million.
Right.
He was on TV 12 times, Charlie Crist 2 times. I mean, come on. If people tell you TV don't work, mailers don't work, they're not telling the truth.
TV does work.
TV work and mailers work. You keep on looking at it. Even if you look at it for 30 seconds, you get enough of them. They say if you send 7 mailers out, it's going to start affecting you. So what's your take on the governor's race?
Yeah, really on that one too. First of all, he put some distance between him and Trump. And we're going to talk about it, later on the national, how that affected some people lost. He really put some distance there and ran as a Republican with Republican values. If he would have connected himself to Trump some kind of way, he probably still might have won, but it wouldn't have been with this amount of votes that he was,
Yeah, and I got a theory on that because eventually you're going to have him and Trump going to have some white on white crime going on. It's going to really get bad there. Trust me. Because he didn't come out and condemn Trump. He didn't take his endorsement.
Right.
Because you see the man in Georgia, Kemp took his endorsement.
Right.
And then
I don't think Marco Rubio did either.
No, he didn't take his endorsement.
And that was a smart thing to do.
It was a smart thing to do, but simply self-interest because he run in 2024. He run for president, so we already know that.
Right.
But what I think happened there, the Democrats, once again, didn't put up the best candidate for governor. Charlie Crist, he was cool, but he was not the best, brother.
So you don't think Nikki Fried would have fared better?
No way.
Okay.
Nikki Fried wouldn't have been no way. Number one, she didn't have the name recognition. A woman, she would have she would have talked about reproduction rights of women more than Charlie Crist did because she a woman. That wouldn't have helped us. I think the only thing may have helped Charlie Crist if he would have chose a woman for his running mate, a black woman. I think his choice of running mate for education, she was a Hispanic, but she didn't do nothing to help him in South Florida, particularly Miami-Dade. So I think sometimes if you've been there so many times, Charlie Crist been everything. He's been Attorney General, he's been a state senator, he's been Commissioner of Education, been in Congress, he's been governor before. I think people were just saying diminishing returns. It's Tyler Charlie Crist. Why did we know we had a midterm coming? We put up, that's the best we can come up with. Right. Tell me about it. And then in the process, we lost a seat in the House. In the process. So.
And there's some seats still out. We don't know yet.
Right. Yeah. But we know the one in the 13 that he had is gone.
Right.
Spanish girl got that one. Yeah. That was gone. So I think that his messaging was terrible. Let's talk about how he campaigned.
Talking about Chris. Talking
about Charlie Crist. Yeah. How did he come on? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I believe his messaging was off as well. He
saw the debate. What he talked about? All they talked about it during the debate was the Roe versus Wade. He never. Yeah. Why he didn't talk about the economy? Why he talk about how good the economy was under him? And the culture wars. We letting the Republican beat us in the culture wars. Yeah. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
So what do we do now to regroup? Because if we don't come up with a plan to regroup, Jeffrey, this win that our opposition party Republicans had gonna demoralize us. Mm-hmm. It's shambles going on and if I was in charge, everybody from the top of the Florida State Democratic Party, I'm gonna change. We just need new broom sweep clean. We need new leadership. We need new ideas. We need fresh ideas. We need young people. We need something new to happen, brother. Because that was a whooping. They said in the history, nobody got beat like this for governor like this since the 90s. We got to come up with something, brother. And I'm not here to bash the Democratic Party. I'm just saying we got to look at ourselves.
Absolutely.
We got to blame. And then are we going to put some money behind candidates? You tell me a man got $102 million and you barely got $5 million and you think you can be competitive? Are you kidding me? Or you know what kind of game you're involved in? It's politics. Yeah. So what are your take on anything else you want to say on that governor's race?
No, I didn't finish on that one.
I ain't no more stew in that. Jeff looked at me, DJ CEO said, ain't no stew left in that one. I've got all the stew out of it. Well, I was intending to get all the stew out of it because that's how I feel about it. But let's go to now the, I'm not going to say too much about Attorney General. Just touch that real quick.
The Attorney General, I wasn't too familiar with that one.
Okay, well, that's Aris Ayala. She was great. First black woman state attorney in Orange County.
Yeah.
I just think that Ashley Moody hard to beat. The dad is a judge, brother is a judge, and they real deep in the Republican Party, and people just went down that line, voted for red all the way down.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go right
What
ahead.
was the percentage of women that voted for DeSantis?
I don't have those stats in front of me right now.
How about overall? Do you have any stats on the women overall for Hillsborough County or for the state of Florida?
No, we have to put
No,
it up.
you have to put that up.
Okay, all right. Perhaps on the break.
Yeah, perhaps you pull up on the break. All right, so let's do this. So Aaron Esiela, I thought she was exciting. I thought she ran a good campaign. I just think she didn't have enough money. Ashley Moody was on TV all the time, and I never saw Harris on TV. So another thing, underfunded. You got to have a war chest. You go into war, you can't go to war with a pop gun and your opponent got a double barrel shotgun. You know, just
Yeah,
can't
there you
do
go. Yeah. And then looking at the county commission race,
it. Okay.
2 incumbents didn't return.
Yeah, I was trying to say that for the end because that's hurtful. That's hurtful. But since you already on the went there, let's go ahead and do it. All right. So what we'll do, we won't talk about that to the last,
Okay.
and we'll go to a break now, and we'll come back. Let's talk about the state senate race with Janet Cruz, and that was an interesting case too. We have in the studio Jeffrey Rose, political analyst and entrepreneur. We are talking about the election results and how the Democrats come bounce back. We coming back. If you'd like to call in, 813-444-9588. Jarvis Elamine, Tampa Bay Politics. We will be right back.
This is the recipe you've been waiting for. A little touch of smooth mixed with a big touch of soul.
This is how we do it.
We are In Touch Radio.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton
Please
Paris,
stand
at
by.
813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sundown. 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky. It's a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
All right, Jarvis Elamine sitting in for Angela Birdsong. Tampa Bay Politics the day after the election, midterm election that got consequences. Who gonna control the House of Congress in Washington D.C. and a lot of local politics, because all politics are local. But we had some real shockers, DJ, in some local races here. So we got a call on the air. Caller, what say you?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is Robin.
Good morning, Robin. Thank you for
morning,
calling
Robin.
in.
You're welcome. Thank you. Messaging is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Money is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And relatability is a problem.
Wow, I like that last one, Robin.
Relatability.
Oh, I like that one. Can I take that? I ain't got no royalties for it, but I want you definitely to try to use that one. I love relatability. God have mercy, you hit it on the head. Don't take my job, honey.
Not for everyone.
Wow. Tell me how you relate that word relatability to what we're talking about, because I want to just get all the stew out of it.
So there's talking points and there's talking points. Candidate or someone who's saying that they're representing the community. That's what their goal is. They can't. Abortion wasn't for everyone. That wasn't the top priority for everyone. Although they support it, but economics is an issue, housing is an issue. Those things all relate to one another. So when you're coming out and you're speaking to the communities, then you have to have a pulse on that community to talk about issues that would drive them to the polls.
Well, I tell you, I love my listeners. I love our leaders in the community. That's Robin Lockett. She's the regional director for Florida Rising, which is an organization that's getting it done, empowerment and housing, social issues, economic issues. She's been on the forefront of this housing crisis, this police problem with the subpoena power, police reform. She's been on top of all of it. Robin, that is absolutely great. And what we need to do is get this messaging to the party. And we said messaging, money, and relatability. Anything else?
So we don't need. So the party is not going to save us.
Right. So tell me what's your
us.
take on that? You got 45 seconds.
We need to save ourselves.
Okay.
How do we vote in the block? How do we rally to know what our issues are, to come to a conclusion of what our end result is, and we save ourselves. When we people together creates a one mighty punch.
Right.
When we're separated, we don't, because we all have the same issues. So how do we collectively compile those issues, let everybody know what we want, and we stand fast on it?
All right.
Quick question, Robin. What happened to the female vote?
What happened to what? I'm sorry, Adele?
What happened to the female vote?
I think you talking about the black vote, the black female vote?
Just females altogether. I was surprised to see such a red defeat in the state of Florida versus anywhere else in the country. But if you look at Florida and the rest of the country is more along a 50-50 split. But Florida is deeply red, and I'm just surprised that it appears that women want to be controlled by men. They don't have a problem with that.
I think that people will vote against their own best interests. And I think, again, it goes with messaging. What are you speaking? Not everybody has the same issue. But what's interesting to me is that pretty much everyone else lost by single digits. But Chris, all the top people lost by double digits.
Right.
So does that mean that the Democrats voted for everybody else except for them, and they went Republican with everything else, with everyone else?
That's an interesting thing you said, because I had a stat before, saying that women in the state of Florida vote 71%. They was voting strong, and the woman vote didn't seem to come out strong on this one, like Dara was saying. So we have to wait and see what's happening with that, and do some more research and analysis on that. But, we thank you for your call, Robin. We're going to move to the next race, and thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, that was a very interesting exchange. She said, I'm just going to recap. She said messages, which was I said right off the bat, messaging.
Absolutely.
And money, I said money too, but relatability is one that we really can add, kind of relate to the issues. And she was driving that home, Jeffrey, said that though people like Roe versus Wade, but that wasn't everybody's issues.
No.
People want against it. But they just want to talk about the economy, talk about housing, talk about other issues.
And I don't recall anybody really talking about housing.
No.
Even workforce development.
Workforce development, yeah.
Those are issues.
Which is jobs.
Yeah, jobs and apprenticeship training.
That's right.
You're right. Nobody hit on that, and I think that would have when you hear stuff like that, you sort of raise up in your seat.
Yeah, because and that's what I mean when I said messaging. If you said that to a person who going through a housing crisis, rent, one bedroom apartment, $2,500 a month, right, you may get them to raise up in the chair, like you said. Right. That may get their interest. Maybe I should be involved in this. Let's talk about this race, state senate race 14, which was a shocker. Janet Cruz and Jay Collins. Oh my God! And that race looked like it's counted already. 54% right, to Jay Collins, Republican, and Janet Cruz 45%. Democrat. I mean, yeah, 45%. But here's what happened. She tore him up in early voting. I mean, tore him up in early vote and tore him up in vote by mail. But lost bad the day of the election. That seemed to be the trend with Democratic races right now. What's your take on that?
We always do well with early voting and vote by mail, especially vote by mail.
Sure.
We always do well in that. His messaging was, I would say, whoever his political strategist was, they did an excellent job.
Okay.
Whether you want to admit or not, even though you're not a Republican, even the ads portrayed him as a patriot, and that's what Republicans like.
Law and order.
Yeah, law and order. And they just outdid Cruz.
And not down to that, now let's don't forget how his consultant portrayed her.
Mm-hmm. It was negative.
Real negative, saying gay. Also, she had a phony charity. She been there too long. She ain't get nothing done. She's a part of the Democrat that get nothing done, taxing spend Democrat. Mm-hmm. I mean, so when people said negative advertising don't work, you got to ask yourself, is that all true?
And I don't know when they're going to stop using this as a political narrative, defunding the police.
Oh, they ain't going to never stop.
I don't know how long that's going to go.
They're going to keep on. They ain't never going away.
Yeah.
The radical left, they want to defund the police. That's going to always be there. They're going to tie the economy to the current Democrat that's in office. And now they're going to add to that don't say gay. They tying that to it, part of the culture wars. So that race was a shocker. And Darrell Rousseau, he did real good. He's coming back. He did very well. So let's move now to the county commission.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with namesake race first. Why don't we start with Angela Birdsong race?
Angela Birdsong. We talked about that
last night.
We called last night, and it looked promising in the beginning.
It did.
She did well with mail-in
vote by mail.
Vote by mail. She did very well there, and from there. She ran a pretty good race, but it was a pretty good distance between, 40. She had 43.42 to Ken Hagan, 56.58.
Right.
Who is an incumbent, and we have to be honest. A lot of Democrats did support him.
Well, let's talk about it for real now, because I was consulting Angela, and I was intimately involved in that race, so I see things a little different than you may see it in that particular race. All right, let's go right to vote by mail. She won that by 3,000 votes.
Right.
Early voting, she lost by 7,000, and she lost election day by 8,000. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the numbers, for a 20-year career politician with $500,000, and we spent almost $100,000, to only lose by 13% is not too bad.
Right.
Not too bad. Which means that we got to see what we can do to get our people to come out on election day and come out early voting a little bigger. But I think her messaging was good. I think that she ran on jobs, affordable housing, minorities doing business with the county. Her platform was a great platform. I just think that what hurt us is that some Democrats, and that 14% blacks that's in that district too, we should have got 97% of that. That was taken from us by some black people supporting Hagan, even though he's put a white supremacist on the diversity board. He's a sponsor for the rebel flag to be flying out there. Voted 7 times to keep the Confederate monuments in front of the courthouse. None of that helped stop the black people from supporting him. Also, some Democrats supported him, right?
Yep.
So that didn't help us. But I think that what hurt us the most. Well, none of that. That the last time she ran, Andrew Gillum was at the top of the ticket, and the blue wave helped her, because she only lost by 4% last time.
Okay.
So I think if Van Demmons would have been stronger, if we had a stronger governor race, if the Democrats would have done better, that would have helped this race.
Right.
That's my take on it.
Yeah. Even if you was to take these races that's going on that we just finished and put it to 2024, it'll be a different outcome.
You think so?
I think, yeah, because the base is it's a presidential election.
Oh, that's right. The base is more excited.
There you go.
You make a good point there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make a good point. So while we got about 2 minutes before this segment ends, and we're gonna do the last segment. We're gonna do some national stuff. So I want to talk real quick. Let's do Kim Overman.
Yeah.
Kim Overman with Josh Wasser. Have you ever heard Josh talk?
No.
10 Conversations. You talking about radical right.
Wow.
Oh my God, this is Trump on steroids, DeSantis on steroids, and he won. What's the numbers on that, Jeffrey? Tell us about that.
It shows Kimberly Overman, 47.62%.
An incumbent, a sitting county commissioner.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying don't feel
Josh-
bad about us. This is a sitting county commissioner.
Right, and Josh with 52.38.
Okay, 47. That's almost 5% for a set. She's the chairman of the county commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So give me the numbers on vote by mail.
Vote by mail, Kimberly, hold on. Kimberly Overman led in that.
All right. So what about the early vote? How she did early vote?
Voting.
I see it right here. Early voting. Josh beat her in early voting. 76. The day of when people got to go out and vote, Republicans ain't doing no vote by mail. That's Democrat thing. Because she beat him bad in vote by mail, 112,000 to 80,000. Then when it comes to early voting, Josh got 74,000 to 54,000. Beat her by 20,000 votes in early vote. The day of election, beat her like a runaway slave, 91,000 to 56,000.
Yeah.
Come on now. How many that is, Jeffrey? That's almost 30,000, right?
Absolutely.
So it was 52% almost to 47%. Incumbent, a sitting chairman of the county commission. And the county commission been flipped. It's predominant, even with redistricting.
Right.
And I want to talk about that on our way back in redistricting. So we'll be right back. We're going to talk about redistricting, how that affected the county commission race, or did it affect the county commission race? And we'll be talking about the other races. We had a tight race, too, with Harry Cohen.
Yes.
They're saying they're calling it for 279 votes. We have in the studio with us Jeffrey Rose. We will be right back. Tampa Bay Politics, our last segment. We're having so much fun. Let's go fast, Jeffrey. We got to have you back.
You're listening to Tampa Bay Tammy
Your girlfriend.
on In Touch Radio. In Touch Radio.
Ray Williams Funeral Home, providing the highest quality, professional, and caring service for your family. Call Jeffrey Rose at 813-253-3419. That's 813-253-3419. Or visit him at 301 North Howard Avenue, Tampa, Florida. Ray Williams Funeral Home, for the finest care and quality service.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the law office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
All right, DJ CEO, I love that commercial. We thank our supporters and our advertisers. They make things happen for us. We have in the studio with us Jeffrey Rose, a political analyst and entrepreneur. Jarvis Elamine sitting in for Angela Birdsong on Tampa Bay Politics. We talking about the day after election results. We talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the lessons and the blessings that we're going to learn, and we're going to move this thing forward. Jeffrey, let's jump right in. That next race was Mary Ella Smith,
Yes.
a sitting county commissioner as well, right?
Right.
And what those numbers look like? She lost too.
Yeah, Mary Ella Smith, 47.27.
Almost identical to Kim Overman.
Yeah, identical, yes.
All right, so it's the same thing.
Opponent.
Vote by mail, she had 112,000, 80,000 for the opponent, Donna Sapita.
Right.
And same thing, almost identical. Early vote, 74,000 for her opponent, 54,000 for her, and 92,000 on the day of election to her, 55,000. That's almost, that's about almost 25,000.
Right. And in Hillsborough County, I mean, if you look at the stats of Democrats that are registered, we outpace the Republicans as registered voters in Hillsborough County. So that goes to show you that the base wasn't stimulated. It
Yes.
did not turn out.
Good point.
Turn out. And if you hear the numbers here, Democrats at 342.
Go ahead.
That's, yeah, that we have, and
Registered.
Republicans, yeah.
Okay, so what Jeffrey's referencing is this is from the supervisor election. We have 342,600 registered Democrats
Right.
in Hillsborough County. To the Republicans, 290,000. I mean, that's almost like 50,000 more than them.
And Hillsborough County traditionally for years have been a blue county.
Right.
A blue county. The presidential races always, Hillsborough County always going that way. Our local government, city council, although it's a nonpartisan, are predominantly Democrat. But it changed last night.
It changed in one election cycle, and
Right.
you said it right.
Two people did not return.
Right.
Two Democrats did not.
That's Mary Ella Smith
Right.
and the chairman, Kim Overman. The new people going to be sworn in the 22nd of this month. That means that now county commission went from predominant Democrats to predominant Republican. 4 Republicans to 3 Democrats.
Absolutely.
And so that means now that our District 3 representative and other Democrats ally to get things done. They have some coalition building skills because they're going to have some Republican, at least one Republican to vote with them to get anything passed.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
And these Republicans that are coming on board, I'm not familiar with them. I don't know if you are.
I'm familiar with Michael Owen.
Are they moderate Republicans or are they?
Extreme right-wing Republicans, Donna Cepeda and Josh Wastow. The only one that we can work with as Democrat will be Michael Owens. He came to 10 conversation. He seemed like somebody, he's an entrepreneur, plus a lawyer. I think he'd be somebody we can work with. That Gwen and the other Democrats on the board can be able to work with. But no, Harry coming back too, so we got 3. Yeah. Let's talk about Harry race. Harry race was called last night, and I'll talk to you about what I heard this morning. What you heard last night with the numbers? It was against Scott Leviston.
Yeah, the last numbers I saw, and keep in mind, this is a countywide seat.
Yes.
And the numbers that separate the two was 103 votes. No, not 100, 803 votes.
Yeah, Jefferson was
that's separate. But since then, you said here it has
279.
It's shrinking. Okay.
Yeah, it's 279. Here we go here. Last night.
So he's still in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Harry Cohen won by a thread.
Yes.
When I say a thread, it's really a thread. 279 votes separate the winner from the loser. So basically, of course, again, Harry Cohen won vote by mail. Scott Leviston won early vote and the day of the election.
Yeah. And those numbers, what do you think? What you see? I'm gonna tell you what I see. It's the same. It's the same election cycle. Same people voting. It goes to show you that some of the people that went with some of these other Democrats, even he may have gotten some independent support.
You talking about Harry?
Yeah. Harry, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that, and that's why I admire your political astuteness. I didn't think about that, but that's true though. It's
the same cycle.
It's serious.
Yeah. Although he's countywide, he's a countywide seat, but somebody did not vote all the way down ballot either for that to happen.
That's right.
If they did, he would be out.
Right.
If the Republicans went straight down ballot, or either he got
Harry would be out and Scott would be in.
Right.
Right.
And then he could have gotten a lot of independent support as well. Not a lot, but some independent support.
To my Harry.
Yeah, Harry.
Yeah.
And the registered independents that we have in Hillsborough County.
Let's look at that number.
Two.
All right, then. So here we go. This is amazing here because you got 292,000 registered independents, almost equal to the amount of Republicans you got. So going back to what we talked about early on, Jeffrey, how do we message to independents? How we got to go talking to independents.
Yeah, and then like Robin hit it, messaging.
Yeah, messaging.
We need to see what's on their minds, what their concerns are, and I would say anybody that's running for office, I don't think you don't need to ignore the independent voter. Please don't, because they can make a difference in a close race.
Well, I'll tell you something, and that had not been something on our plate as Democrats.
Right, because you're a Democratic Party, you have a Republican Party.
Right. We have been talking about reaching out to independents, which now this become glaring clear that we got to reach out to independents. And I'm going to go back to what we said earlier. Messaging, money, and relatability. We have to do that. You know what I mean? So That's very, very important. We got a few more minutes. The last few minutes, I want to give you some liberty with your political astuteness to talk about who going to control in the national, in Washington, D.C., the houses of Congress. You're talking about the Senate. It looked like the Republicans picked up some seats in the House. Looked like the Democrats still may be controlling the Senate. It looked like there's going to be a recount on Walker, Herschel Walker, and
I think Walker,
Raphael.
And I think
Warnock.
Warnock is going to win.
Yeah.
Because there's an independent candidate in there. He had 2 point something percent. If they go to the runoff, I believe he's going to get that. He's going to get that, and he needs to win.
Right.
Because we need to maintain the House.
The Senate.
The Senate. The Senate. But it looks like we may not control the.
Look like the Republicans took over the House.
Right. But it's still some leeway there for the president, because we may even be tied in the House. I mean, in the state Senate, we may even be tied.
United States Senate.
Yeah, but who breaks the tie?
The Vice President.
There you go.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Pennsylvania looked like the Democrats picked held to that one, right? Any other race that was interesting other than Florida, we know we didn't get Florida in the Senate.
Wes Moore, is that Wes Moore, the governor that won in Maryland? Yeah, an African American governor.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Wes Moore.
Okay.
So that, and one thing too, that's on a positive note, the election lie theorist candidates did not win last night.
The big lie theory.
The big lie, they did not win.
I'm glad you brought that up. So a lot of the people, what we call the election deniers,
right,
saying that the election was stolen, going around repeating Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. So none of those that embraced that conspiracy theory, none of them won?
None of them won. There's one still, I forgot what it's a congressional seat.
But it's still counted.
They haven't counted yet.
Okay.
But they're not doing well, which is good. You want to see that, because I want this thing to die down. That the election was stolen. Trumpism needed to go away. We need to get back to basic politics now.
And clean elections.
Yeah.
Well.
At the end of the day, when it's all over, we are somewhat in good hands, whether your person won or not.
Right. So none of the conspiracy theorists, election deniers won. Right. That's a good thing.
And CNN made that they top story.
They did?
Yeah, this morning.
Okay. Yeah. So let me ask you something now. We got 2024 coming, right? You already know DeSantis is going to run for president. Donald Trump said last week that he's going to announce this coming Tuesday what he's going to run or not. What do you see happening there if he decides to run? We know DeSantis is running. What that's going to do to the to the Republican Party?
It's going to be a lot of infighting.
There you go.
And everybody knows Trump. He does not play fair.
Hey.
He goes, when he hits below the belt, he hits below the belt.
He go for the juggler.
Yeah, absolutely. So that infighting may help the Democrats.
I was just going to ask you, is that going to benefit us?
Yes, but it depends on who our Democrat nominee is. That's the biggest thing.
All right, let's talk about that.
Okay, at this point, we need to look at somebody other than Biden. Mm-hmm. And keep an eye on the governor in California, Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
Look him.
All right, y'all hear that? Jarvis said, keep your eyes on Gavin Newsom.
Out of California.
He's a governor right now, a sitting governor.
Yes.
A sitting governor in California. We do need some fresh blood for this presidential election. I think he's just a little too old, moving a little too slow.
It's like we've been talking about messaging. If you look at his race, for re-election, everything is on point. Everything we talked about on point, and he's just got a lot of energy.
To my
Gavin Newsom, yes.
Yeah, I know why I haven't heard about him.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard about him. How long has he been the governor?
The media really pumping him up now. CNN and
oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay, that would be good.
Maybe some others, but I don't see them right now.
Right now, you know why a lot of constituents, especially African American, were saying for President Biden to use his executive power to get certain things done for our community. You take the student loan forgiveness. They stopped that and tied it all up, which was one of his campaign promises.
Right.
That's why I say that like Trump or don't like Trump, he did a lot of things for his base by executive order. Why are the Democrats scared to use executive power? I'm asking you that.
I wish I could answer that. I wish they. I think.
Tell me why.
I think Democrats, some of them may be a little hesitant as using it.
If they don't use it, when they can use it to benefit the base and make themselves look better as a candidate.
And it depends on who the Democratic presidential person is as well.
Right. Well, we see the last 2 years, the President Biden haven't used it as much as former President Trump did, to do things for his base, So, very, very interesting. So we got a city election coming up in March. That's going to be interesting. And the mayor, I think all the city councils up for re-election, right?
Yeah.
And the mayor.
And the mayor.
Everybody. That's going to be interesting. So we're going to talk about that. And our next time you come, we'll talk about the city election. Jeffrey, I want to say thank you for coming in. Mm-hmm. I know you're a very busy man, taking out of your busy schedule to come talk to me about the election results. I want to thank our producer and the owner of In Touch Radio, Darryl Johnson. Thank you, Darryl, for having us, and we appreciate it. And we want to say to you, we'll be back next Wednesday, Tampa Bay Politics. All right, Angela, you're going to come back. Go ahead and do your thing. You ran a good race, Angela. We'll see you when you come back. Jarvis Elamine and Jeffrey Rose with Tampa Bay Politics. We'll see you, and we love you. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Thank you.